All right, guys. So in this video, I'm actually going to walk you through all the skills you need to master if you want to make millions in whatever business you actually touch, right? And this is actually knowledge that I've received from networking with multimillionaires, lessons in my journey when I'm analyzing my own business successes and failures as well, in what I wish I knew and mastered in order to actually succeed. And it's very fucking simple, right? Well, it's simple, as they say, but it's not easy. And like the next 5, 10, 15, 20, 50 years of my personal life are only going to the mastery of these skills. Because right now, one of these skills I spent the last 2 years mastering, and I can genuinely say mastering because I have no problem whatsoever doing this one skill in any area of life. And I've made millions actually, or made companies millions from this one skill alone. So if you add three more, where the fuck do you think you're going to get to, right? And that's what I'm actually going to walk you through and show in this video, in how, in simple terms, the business principles of life. Like, that's it, right? And there's four main skills. I'm going to list them one and I'm going to go through each one: sales, marketing, team building, and networking, right? Most people only talk about the first three, they miss out the fourth one, right? But if you master these four skills in life, you'll never be broke and you will always be at the top 1% or 0 point whatever percent of people because you would have taken the time to master these skills. Right now, I'm working on marketing, team building, and networking to a degree. Like that's on the lower end. Because right now I'm focusing on the networking thing. But what I can comfortably, hand on heart, fully say is I've mastered sales. I know I have, because if you didn't know my journey or where I've come from, so for the last I've been selling for like the last 8 years or whatever it has been, but like competitively selling in a competitive environment, let's say the last three or two. And I have consistently like made 30K months, 25K months, 20K months as a sales rep, right? At some of the most competitive companies in the world, right? Like if you know sales, you obviously know Seventh Level and Jeremy Minor. I was one of his reps. I've been invited to sell for Mind Valley, Robert Kiyosaki's team, lots of other big companies, companies that you don't know of that sell multi-billions of dollars. I've trained lots of people in different industries, insurance, BizOp, like business opportunity offers online, um, real estate sales, Airbnb sales, trading sales. Like I made a fuck ton of cash selling in the trading space. In the trading space, even I would sell packages like crazy amounts, like not crazy, but like big amounts. Like we're talking about like 100K pay in fulls on Zoom calls, like one-on-one calls. Like you're selling with someone one-on-one and they wire you $100,000 or more. The highest package I sold is like 150K on one Zoom call, you know? Um, and yeah, I've just built that experience selling for so many different companies, working my way up, investing in different mentors, where now I'm at a point where I coach people to make 20K months, 25K months, 30K months. Like they DM me, I go through some of the coaching I do on the side. I'm not really focused too much on it because I'm building my OFM agency. Um, but like sales is such a big part of who I am or my life or the past that it's like so hard to let go. So that is one skill. So let's talk about the skill of sales first of the four, right? So you heard a bit about my backstory. Now, what is sales? And there's going to be a video on this on my channel. It is literally just about getting people to change. That is it. It's literally getting people to get out of their own way, change their patterns, change their way of being. And in order to change, to get to the end result that they want to get to, they have to buy your product, right? And your goal is to get them to understand why where they're at is not enough for them, why what they're doing is not good enough for them, why they need to change, why now, what happens if they change, and what happens if they don't. Like that's the very simple way of me breaking down sales. Whatever script you sell on, whatever method of selling you adopt, right? And what makes me know I've mastered it is because I can sell to different avatars, different types of people, um, successful people, unsuccessful people, people with money, people without money. Like I said, different industries. Red ocean offers, blue ocean offers. What do I mean by red ocean? Where there's like super competitive landscapes, like super hard marketing offers. And most people struggle on those offers because um, they're trying to. There's one common way of selling that I would say a pretty average sales rep or pretty decent sales rep sell on. That I also learned. I went through this guy's program back in the day, but it doesn't work on that red ocean office. You have to adopt a different way. But anyway, long story short, with all those experiences, I've learned and feel like I've personally mastered that skill of sales. Now, if you're watching this personally and you haven't, I mean, I would strongly recommend trying to master sales because it will make everything you do, whatever business you do, much easier. Like, so a bit about my story. I When I was 17 or 16, I bought my first course. It was Agency Incubator from Iman Gaji, and I ran a marketing agency for like 3 years or 2 years or whatever. Um, how successful was that agency? Well, after lots of other investments, I got it to maybe like 10K months, pounds, never more than that. At like 17, 18 years old, which obviously I was fucking over the moon. Like it allowed me to do my first set of like traveling around the world, earning money online. I went to like Bali at that time, met a couple of really cool people that I'm still friends with today. And it just opened up a lot more of experiences. But I was doing that business almost handicapped because I didn't actually understand sales. I was just following a script. I was following whatever the fucking Iman was giving in his dodgy program. Um, in terms of like what sales is, how to sell, and like I was just getting a shit ton of rejections. I'll tell you, it was the most painful period of my life actually because I would work so hard to book sales calls, and back then I also didn't have the skill of appointment setting, which arguably that is an important skill in sales. Is like how do you book appointments with people from cold, don't know you, to actually sell them. That is, if we're putting a box here of sales, that is very, very important in this box of sales. Um, so I used to spend hours and hours, days booking appointments, trying all these different ways. Facebook, LinkedIn, this, that, whatever. It was a Facebook ads agency. So, um, and then I'd hop on the sales calls and I would just get all flattened. I'd just get walked over because bearing in mind, I'm like this 17-year-old guy. If I have some like clips of myself when I was like younger doing that, I might post a couple here. But I was getting flattened, like seriously, seriously flattened. Like, bro, it was insane. Like, it was so painful that, like, because just so you can grasp the context here, like, I had just left university. I was studying economics at London School of Economics in the UK. I dropped out because, oh, sorry, I think this was before I actually even went to uni. So, yeah, so this is, I turned down, yeah, so I turned down a place to study at, well, I didn't get it. One of them, I didn't get like I was like very, very close to studying at Oxford for economics in the UK. I like missed my place by like 1 mark, one of the final tests, and I was like, I don't. They asked me to reapply, but I was like, nah, can't be asked. Don't want to do that because my heart wasn't in it. So went down the business route, and I had to obviously convince my parents that okay, guys, this is what I want to do. This is my vision for my life. This is where I want it to be. This is where I want it to go. Um, and I just remember having this pressure, obviously, because you're just telling your parents that I've spent a fuck ton of money. My parents sent me to boarding school, so they spent like a lot of money to send me to boarding school in Surrey, in the UK. And I went back to them. I was like, "Listen, I'm not. I don't want to. I don't want to go to the uni that you kind of basically invested all your money into. Like boarding school is pretty expensive. Like it's not cheap. And so like I have this pressure to like perform and do well, or had in my head, which I had to work on. But and for so long, so that I spent like I took a gap year out, right, to make this work. to show them like I don't need to go to uni. So I took a gap year, um, and I had a place at LSE to go to at the end of that gap year, which my whole plan was I'm not going. I'm making enough money to not go. So I'm doing all this outreach, appointment setting. It's not fucking working. Then I get some people on these calls with all this pressure going on in my head from parents, and my parents were from Nigeria, so they're very traditional, or they were. Um, and the idea of not going to uni was just like out of their reality. So you can imagine like the tension I had at home was high. So a lot was on the line, basically, right? And so I'm hopping on these calls with these founders, Zoom call, 18 years old. They're looking at me, they're just grilling me. They're like, who the fuck are you? Why do you think you can run ads for me? Like, you're so young. What do you fuck you know? Like all these rejections. And like there was no script in the fucking world that could just fucking handle that shit for me. It was the most painful period of my life because, like I said, of all that pressure, and I was also making fuck all, no money. That I'd actually cry myself to sleep because of all the fucking rejection. Like it was so painful because in my head, I'm like wondering, did I make the biggest mistake of my life? Like not reapplying to one of the best universities in the world, not trying to, and with one of the best degrees you could possibly get as well. And yeah, it was so painful. And like my idea of sales back then was just the script and buying these courses and following them. But the more I didn't let those failures stop me. I just kept reinvesting, kept finding new people, kept learning, right? And eventually I found the right people to learn from that caused me to have the skill set. Now, where this whole tangent started is when I was setting up that agency, I did not find those right people to learn sales from. It was when I became a sales rep full time that I did. So if I learned the skills that I have now back then in that agency, I would have been making sales like there was no tomorrow. And then the biggest issue would have been fulfillment, which is one of the other skills which we'll talk on later. But on the sales piece, would have been so much easier. And I wouldn't have gone through that 9, 10 month span of like no sales, pain, stress, everything. And if you're watching this video and you have a vision, just like myself back then, of I want a better life, I want to build, I want to have the financial freedom, I want to travel the world, I want to look after myself, I want to, I don't know, you have all these visions and goals for your life, which I respect. Like anybody that can think bigger than what most people are thinking of, I respect you fully. I highly recommend you learn sales because I would have got to that point way faster, way, way fucking faster. And this is something you need to look at because if you're in this position where you want this, you can't want something that you have. So that you want it because you don't have it. And most likely it's because you're not booking enough people. You're not, first of, it's like one of three, right? First of all, no one knows your offer. So that's the market. Well, that's one of the other pillars of the four. Second, you're not booking enough calls with your prospects and not closing enough deals. So you solve those three things, you'd make more money, and you're not going to be in this position of wanting your goal. You're going to already have your goal because you would have covered all the variables. But in a nutshell, the sales variable is, in my personal opinion, one of the most important ones. Now, the second skill to help you make millions, whatever, for life, right, is marketing, right? Marketing is so crucial for every business. Like right now, I'm in the OnlyFans space. Yes, I can sign models every day. I can book calls every day. That's the sales piece. But when it comes to delivering results, I have to get good at marketing. That's the Instagram methods, the TikTok methods, the Twitter methods, this method to get them traffic to sell, basically. And that's the marketing piece. I also have to market myself, which is probably why I'm also doing YouTube, right? That's why I've also got a decent Instagram, building that out more. Um, that's on the personal side. Other businesses that I've sold for in the past, they're booking in appointments through Facebook ads. And that's the marketing piece. And your marketing needs to be on point because people will not, you can't sell to people that don't know you. So the marketing piece is all about how do I get people to know me for whatever I offer, you know? And if your service is a marketing offer, well, what you're offering is a marketing service, and you need to get good at that yourself, you know? Um, and which is what I'm in the process of really refining and mastering is the art of going viral, because the art of going viral can literally change your life. Let's take a look at certain people that we know in this online space. And it's not just about making money online, it's just like online world in general. You look at someone like, so one of my favorite artists now, or has been for since before he blew, Central C, right? That guy, fucking marketing, like, like like he markets himself so well, from how he dresses, from how he speaks, talks, how he moves himself, how he carries himself. Also, the promos. Whenever he's launching music, it's always well released, you know, or well marketed before. Um, there's always controversy. There's always drama. He's like a fucking. And look at him now. He's literally one of the biggest names in our times right now. You know, and everyone else in the music space in the UK is always following up. Like I see everyone else as like a copy of him. Like he in December to promote his album, he's on streams in the US with this guy called Platboy Max. And like what happens after? Fucking the pack of the UK fucking also go stream with him. Got Nems doing the exact same thing, all these other people. And like they're just copying what one guy has done and has just thought out the box, you know? And like he's got all the market share if we think about it, you know? There's no one else copying him. There's no one else doing his numbers because they haven't mastered the marketing piece like he has. They're all copying. But he's actually thought from first principles. Where's my target market? What do they like? Blah, blah, blah. All these first principle questions, analyze the game, so to speak, and push through. And that's an example of someone making millions from successful marketing. Obviously, he's good. I like his music. It doesn't really matter what you fucking think about his music. I don't really care. Um, I love his shit. Um, but the marketing piece is what separates him from someone like, I don't know, the average person who does. And I know he doesn't do grime, but like I used to listen to a lot of grime, and there's a big saying that like grime doesn't pay. Well, bigger reason is because the marketing is just not that good, or it's not really marketable, you know, to a big enough audience. But you take someone like Central C, who has taken the sound of drill, which is a bit more has a bit more commercial appeal at the time, and also marketed it well in his own way. I'm not saying he does drill now; it's more like UK rap now, but he's done it in such a way that has allowed him to be in this position where he is fucking like one of the best and the most talked about person in the world, and that's the art of going viral. Because he went viral with his first song, like Day in the Life, whatever, and like his life basically changed. And that's what I'm saying. That's the second skill of four that can change your life. So that's music. All these people that YouTubers, for example, YouTubers change their life. Logan Paul, Jake Paul, KSI, the Sidemen, they're marketers. If you think about it, using social media is a form of marketing. Marketing is the skill of getting attention, you know? All these guys have mastered getting attention. And now they set up, off the back of that attention, they set up different businesses, etc., to help them make money. But what did they master? One skill of marketing, i.e., getting attention, right? And that set them up to be millionaires. Like that guy, KSI, is fucking set for life, you know? Because he used the skill he built and the audience he built to market further products and make a lot of money, you know? And there's so many more examples I can pull, but obviously I'm from the UK, so I'm going to pick UK examples. But um, you can pick any example. I can't remember what is a US example. Um, AMP, um, Beta Squad, Aiden Ross, um, yeah, all these street Kai Cenat, I show speed, bloody hell, all these people they are amazing marketers, in my opinion. And like the marketing is just them being themselves and coming up with all these unique ideas to present on social media. And that's a form of getting attention, which, in my personal opinion, is marketing. They can sell whatever they want. They can get a sponsorship and they can just literally make a post because they've literally built the audience and put in the hard work of marketing themselves that way, you know? So that's skill number two. Sales, like I said, I mastered. Marketing, mastering. Third is team building. Now, team building is how you take yourself from lower 10, 20K months to 100K months, 500,000 months, millions a month, because one person alone cannot produce at that scale. Doesn't matter what industry you're in. One person alone cannot produce millions and millions of dollars a month. You need an army of people all working for the same vision and mission as you to do the man hours that you need to produce the outcome that you're looking for. And in order to make people actually do that, you have to align incentives. So you have to make sure that, so everyone who works for a team has their own vision of themselves and their lives, right? But everyone has to come together for a common vision. And the only way for a common vision to be realized or worth working for is if people see that their personal vision fits into the bigger vision, and therefore they're going to be more required to put in the work to make that happen. Does that make sense? Like, because you can never force someone to do something they don't want to do. Everyone's a sovereign person, everyone's a sovereign being. And the skill of team building is the ability to create visions, get people to work full visions, hire, fire, motivate, sustain, make it fun. And that's how you have long term success. And team building, I'll be so honest, was one of the hardest, was a skill I I might add 5 skills to this list, but it was a skill that I struggled with from my agency days because I had tried hiring before and like it didn't fucking work, and or it didn't really get me the results I wanted to. But that was just because I wasn't teaching my team the right way. It wasn't team building. So I had all these beliefs and inner blockages stopping me from actually building the team again. But I let those go, let those go, rebuilt my team. Now we're fucking scaling and swimming. So um it works, you know? So I would definitely, and like one of my friends, I met him in Poland, in Warsaw. Um, he was doing maybe 200K months or whatever, sorry, weeks, I should say. And his biggest lesson, he used to work in as a sales rep in real estate, doing maybe 20K months. And he was thinking like, how can I do more? How can I make more? Right? Like his biggest thing and lesson was like the vehicle he chose and also team building. That's the only thing that said took it from 20K months to like 100, 200K weeks, you know? And that's why it's also a very, very big skill if you want to make a fuck ton of money. Now, fourth, I want to say networking, because networking is what allows you to realize these opportunities, you know? Like there's no, like, not every vehicle that you're in is the same. Not every vehicle to make money is the same. Sales has a different ceiling to OnlyFans management, which has a different ceiling to the NBA, which has a different ceiling to ecom, which has a different ceiling to trading, which has a different ceiling to selling info products online, which has a different ceiling to doing real estate. Every market is different, but not every market is worth pursuing. And you need to think to yourself, which market is right. And the best way to do that is by networking so you can find out what these different markets are. It's also to meet the right people to that will give you the connections to I don't know, yeah, have the right team members, for example, open up doors or open different investment opportunities, you know, and like build like a solid life and base, you know. And networking, in my opinion, like I wouldn't be here in this business if I didn't network the way I did to be in this position. Like again, in one of my previous videos, I mentioned one guy who, you know, the other day was like calling me to wondering if I should stop this business. And I also feel like the reason I'm in these positions I'm in now is because of the people I've met had the success I wanted. and gave me the right information, because the wrong information can set you on a different path. You know, like your decision making process every single day is so powerful. And if you're making the wrong decisions, it's going to cause you to go the wrong way. And it's going to cause you so much heartache and issues. And that's why it's so important that you surround yourself with the right people, network with the right people. What's my networking hack? You just pay, right? Like I pay for mentorships. You pay if someone's doing what you want to do at a higher level, just pay for his time. And then boom, you've paid for his time. You obviously be a likable person, get to know him. Don't force anything, but you'll be able to like get on with people if it's natural. And then very soon they're going to be inviting you out, and the relationship progresses, you know? Some people like I don't force networking. Like I have one friend who is just a fucking savage when it comes to networking. Like that guy, he gets into the rooms that like I would pay for free. And he's younger than me. And I have no fucking idea how the fuck he does that. Yeah, I don't know. Like some people are just fucking savages at networking, and like that's a skill that I do want to develop. But it's not what I'm bolstering right now. Right now, it's really the marketing and team building side. But networking is very big. Um, and the fifth one I just thought of is mastery of self. Now, mastery of self is one that I feel like I have a strong affinity to. Why is that? Because in my personal life, I've gone through a lot of shit. Like I had very bad depression, hallucinations, what that stuff. And I had to go through a spiritual like awakening very, very early. So I had to understand myself, my beliefs, my um limitations and all this stuff very, very early. I was about 16, 17 years old. I was actually speaking to a chick about this yesterday, actually. Um, that's why it's fresh on my mind. And you know, through that period, you have to, and I was reading lots of spiritual books to really understand how the mind works, how the brain works, how experience works, how trauma works, and how trauma affects your perception of what you are capable of. And the perception of what you're capable of determines the extent to what actions you pursue, right? And the results that you get come from the actions that you take. And therefore, if you're limiting your actions because of some limited perception, because of some limiting belief, you are by extension limiting the results that you will ever face in your life. And so, like, if your goal is to make 500,000 a month, 1 million a month, or more, and you have some beliefs that are capping you, you will never ever reach that point because you don't even believe that is possible for you. And that's why I say the last piece is always mastery of self, because you master yourself, you master your habits, you master how you show up, you master your mindset. I'm massive on mindset. I might make a couple of those videos as well. Um, you basically unlock all the fucking doors to wealth, success in life. And it just comes from that, you know? So those are the 5 skills that I'm locking in for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 plus years, right? Sales has already put me in this position where I make good money. Obviously, obviously there's more, you know, but I'm in Dubai. I'm enjoying my life. I do what I want. I have my own place. Um, like life's good now, right? That's just the mastery of one skill. I'm mastering the next two, marketing, team building. We're going to see where that takes me. Networking will master too. And you see, if you network because you've got a strong, because also think about this too, right? Like, and I think about this sometimes too. When you're at the end of the day, everything is a value exchange. And so for someone to actually want to be in your network, there has to be some value to have, right? And if you're trying to network with no value, you can't network. But you have to build the skills to have value. So if you've mastered 3 skills, sales, market, let's say sales and marketing, right? And team building, and you start to network, the level of connections that you will build are like just elite, faster than if you had just done one or half. Because now you're begging instead of we're at the same level with these top achievers, right? So that's why I'm choosing to go through things this way. Like you can watch this video and see what maybe you have all these skills down, maybe you have one, maybe you have half, maybe you're thinking of maybe you have none and you're like, okay, you're 16 like I was back in the day, and you're like, what skill should I learn? Well, start with one of them, marketing or sales. I think sales is good as number one. And then you move on to marketing, and then you move on to team building, then you move on to networking, then you move on to and mastery of self should always be worked on all the time, every step of the way. Because yourself is always existing. Like you are always existing every single moment of the day. So you need to consistently be working on yourself, you know. Um, and yeah, so that's all for this video. It's a very long one, but it is the guide or the complete steps you need to master or skills you need to master to make sure that you are set for life. And I'm serious. I've literally only mastered one. I've shown you examples of people that I've mastered others. You master all of them, you are the elite. And that's the path that I'm on right now. So hope you like this video. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what skill you're working on. Let me know if there's other skills you feel like are important. But I guarantee you that these are the core five that govern life overall.